Hey, everybody. This is Tuesday. Here in the United States, yesterday was actually a holiday, so this feels like a Monday to me. If you're living in the US, you know what I mean. We love those long weekends, but sometimes it's kind of hard to get back into the groove after that. So just wanted to jump on here for a minute and talk about week 3. If you're just now joining me, just to kind of bring you up to date, I teach a personal branding course at the university here locally. And the course is all about what makes the students individually stand out different from everybody else. And it certainly works great for the entrepreneur also because you're out there fighting, trying to get some kind of recognition, get your message out there, what makes you stand out differently than all the other companies and businesses out there. So this week, it's all about your personal, what they call the positioning statement in the corporate world. It's different than an elevator speech, which we get into that as the semester goes on, but a positioning statement really is what makes you or your company different. So let's say you're in the health and fitness coaching, and there's hundreds of other health and fitness coaching programs out there. What makes you different? What makes you unique? And the problem is they're afraid to kind of narrow their focus a little bit because then they're like, oh, I'm going to miss all of this, these potential clients. But really what happens is you can start kind of niching down so that those who really need your services, they'll say, oh, she's the one that I need. So let me give you an example. Let's say you're a health and fitness coach, but you got into that field because you used to have a lot of problems with your gut health. And you discovered by maybe eliminating sugar and cleaning up your diet, you started feeling better. And then once you started down that track, then you realized that, hey, maybe you slept better, or maybe you started losing weight. The list could go on and on. So you could take that unique perspective that you have and really kind of focus on that. Now, will you get customers that maybe don't have gut health? Yes. But again, you have to start someplace. What makes you unique? Or just your personal story. What makes you unique? So in my business, for instance, I have kind of an unusual background because I actually started in the workforce way back when they actually had executive secretaries. So I was exposed to the CEO mindset early on in my career. I was his executive assistant or executive secretary. So I started learning about organization and business and how the CEO thinks. And then as computers caught on and they started bringing those into the workforce, I transitioned over to the computer world. And then from there, I got into IT. And before you know it, I was a systems analyst. I was testing software. So then my career kind of, took a side turn, so to speak. But then from there, I actually started doing corporate training. And I discovered that I loved training. I loved teaching. And I discovered that I had a unique knack for taking something technical and being able to translate it, so to speak, into language and bite-sized pieces that people could understand and they could actually implement. And because of where I came from, I kind of came from two separate sides of the coin, so to speak. I could speak to those audiences compared to maybe the other colleagues in my group that came from more of a programming background or more of a just strictly analytical. So as my online business, the clients that I coach, are those entrepreneurs that are trying to get traction in their business. They're getting some business, but they're really feeling overwhelmed because they're trying to do everything. Well, how can my skill set help them? I can help them create systems, which gets people kind of scared or nervous, but I can help them create systems or a foundation so that they can grow their business, so that they can easily bring on a team member or outsource or hire a VA, for instance. So do you see how my unique background kind of sets me apart maybe from somebody else? So that's just an example of a positioning statement, bringing your past experience or even your passion and your interest, and how does that tie in with what you have to offer? So taking it back to the classroom with my students, this week, what my students will be doing is they will be analyzing some of the big corporations out there and looking to see what that positioning statement is. And a positioning statement isn't necessarily something that you advertise, but it helps frame that business so that they know which direction to go to. And so my challenge for you is, whether it's other entrepreneur type businesses that you start examining, or even these large corporations like Amazon, Apple, Coca-Cola, Nike, you could make a huge list. Examine those businesses and see if you can figure out what their internal positioning statement, what that statement is, and how are they positioning themselves so they stand out differently. So let's say Coca-Cola, for instance. There's other soft drink beverage companies out there. What makes Coca-Cola different? What's their positioning statement? And what makes them unique to make them stand out? So I wanted to share a fun little story that I always like to share with my class. Barbra Streisand, if you're real young, you won't maybe even know who she is and understand her music. But as I was kind of, growing up, so to speak, in my early years, loved her music, beautiful voice, really a true artist in her craft. What's interesting about her is how she got started in the music business. And like all the other singers, songwriters, and so forth, they would go to auditions and, try out. Some people would love them, some people not. But she has her own unique look, her own unique background. And she said once that she went to an audition and she looked around and she saw all these young, beautiful singers. She just didn't feel very good about her appearance. She just thought, how am I going to compete with these people? Well, it's interesting what she did. When she went out for her audition, and I love to demonstrate this standing in front of the class because I can really kind of get into the role. But when she went out to audition, what she did, she came out and she's like, chewing this big wad of gum, and the judges are kind of looking at her, and then she said, oh, and I should say she was dragging a little stool with her. And so then she takes this big wad of gum and sticks it underneath the stool. Well, you can imagine the judges, they're like, who is this fruitcake? What is she doing? But then she opened up her mouth and started singing. And they were awestruck because, of course, she absolutely had the most beautiful voice, brilliant stage presence. She captured the hearts of those judges. And that really was the beginning of her career. So what did she do? Later, she also revealed to people she wasn't even chewing gum. It was all an act. But what she wanted to do was to grab the judge's attention So in their mind, they weren't comparing her with all these other young, beautiful singers. She was doing something that grabbed their attention. So then once she had their attention, what did she do? She made her offering available. She started singing. So my challenge for you, what's your unique offering and how can you make that available to your clients? So that's my homework for you. I would love to see comments. I would love some feedback in this group. Let me know what you're thinking, if this is helpful to you. And hey, let's all have a great day. And I'll talk with you soon. See you.